celebrating 50 years of education awards and 25 years of development grants. We want to tell you a little bit about what we have accomplished, what our 2021 recipients have achieved, and who our sponsors are. I have to say, I have really enjoyed doing research for this presentation because I have learned a great deal about some of our very impressive FAWCO sisters. Many of the names were familiar to me, but I didn't know the background history. I do now. This afternoon, I took some time to look at the booth with the archives videos. The films are really great. I can highly recommend it. There are so many people. I was looking at them and wondering what their stories are. And I love the fashion. It was really fun to see all the different styles that people have been wearing over the years. I recognized some faces. I was happy to see Kathleen Simon a couple of times, but I did a lot of like, is that somebody? People change, but I have to say, Angelica McLaren, if you are listening, you have not changed one bit. Because we cannot include everyone for fear of forgetting someone, we are only focusing on our current sponsors tonight. Last night, with the culmination of the Target Project, Tareen, among others, said it takes a village. That is exactly what I had been thinking as I was preparing this presentation. It does take a village of people who work together to achieve what we have to date, and the FAWCO community is an incredible village. Everyone has their roles and does their parts. That includes the foundation board, our support team, and all of you who donate generously of your time and your dollars to enable us to help others. Because we all work together, I think it is only fitting that my fellow board members join me to give this presentation. We are all here this evening except Christine Riney, who is on her way to Australia to visit her family. So I'd like to welcome Tracy Murda, the VP of Communications, Angie Abersalt, the VP of Programs, Lauren Mescon, the VP of Fundraising, our Treasurer, Kathy DeBest, and our parliamentarian, Janet Davis. Welcome, everyone. Okay, let's get started. Emily, can you start the slides, please, the slide presentation? Thank you. Okay, as I mentioned last evening, oh, wait, here, let me just already turn it to the next one. There. As I mentioned last evening, COVID-19 has brought added challenges to the development grant and education award programs and to the Target Project. Development grants have reduced the one-year involvement requirement to 6 months, at least for the next 2 cycles. We've pushed back on the deadline for DG nominations and EA applications to March 27th, 2022, which means that you still have time to submit an application or a nomination. Education awards have seen many more extensions being granted because schools are not open due to the pandemic, and the Target Project has had to think of new and creative ways to bring their message to clubs and to raise funds. As a brief introduction, in 1967, the FAWCO leadership understood that FAWCO clubs were serious about promoting education and expanding charitable work throughout the world, and the FAWCO Foundation was born. For 55 years, the FAWCO Foundation has worked diligently to fulfill its purpose. There's so much need in the world, and the FAWCO community works together to help others. Angie?
Celebrating 50 years of the Education Awards. Next slide.
Sorry.
The first Education Award in the amount of $1,000 was granted to Joy Stevens of AWC Madrid in 1972. According to our 50-year history, the money was donated to a charitable trust in Ohio. The first merit scholarships were given out in 1979. Since the beginning, we've disbursed $1,110,000 to fund 357 education awards. The 2021 Education Award recipients. Academic awards. Gemma Romain was the recipient of the Arts Award. Her mother is Jane Romain of Munich IWC. Gemma is building on a bachelor's degree in media and communications. She aims to attend the master's program at the American University to study journalism and public affairs. Gemma has been having difficulties getting into her master's program at the American University because of various setbacks resulting from COVID, which have forced her to defer her enrollment for 1 year. The FAWCO Foundation was happy to give Gemma an extension for 1 year for her arts award. Celine de Jager was the recipient of the Sciences Award, sponsored in part by AIWC Genoa and the Bacigalupo family in memory of Dr. Frida Bacigalupo Natalia. Celine plans concentrate on applied mathematics with studies in cognitive neuroscience at university. Her ambition in life is to have her work lead to concrete benefits for elders to make the expected tsunami of dementia not be a reality. In her interim report, Celine wrote, "This multicultural fusion of a city is an explorer's paradise, but I quickly realized how expensive it is, even when the museums are free to students. Books and supplies were also expensive. With all the new experiences, I was grateful that I didn't immediately need to find a job. This is why I am especially grateful for the Science Education Award, which allowed me this precious time to breathe and adjust to my new environment and build strong friendships." Caitlin Along was the Humanities Award recipient, sponsored in part by AAWE Paris in memory of Gertrude de Gallier. Caitlin hopes to begin a joint degree in anthropology and linguistics and plan to focus on studies relating to the influence of language in political, ethical, and social settings. In her interim report, Caitlin wrote, "This new year at Bryn Mawr College has been better than I ever imagined it could be. I have made a community, explored new interests, faced new obstacles, and discovered more about myself. With the support of the Humanities Award, I have been able to take classes that spark my interests and passions. Though some of the challenges that I have encountered have felt arduous and trying, the new community that I have developed at Bryn Mawr College has made the experience unforgettable." Matthew Dugan was the recipient of the Vocational Award. His mother is Lori Levy Dugan of Munich IWC. Matthew's current field of study is that of the hotel and gastronomy, which will encompass a curriculum of technical theory, business administration, practical experience, and ethics in a hotel environment. In his interim report, Matthew wrote, "I'll admit I reluctantly applied for the scholarship with absolutely no intention of winning, so you can imagine my surprise when I was announced as the winner. In many ways, it is still quite shocking. On behalf of FAWCO and the FAWCO Foundation, you all have my deepest gratitude and thanks. Being able to be accepted as a recipient for this award was not only great for the money, but also as a massive moral boost in such an uncertain time. I am truly so thankful again."
Okay, let's move on to members awards. Remember, all FAWCO members are eligible for member awards, so this means each and every one of you. The Continuing Education Award that is sponsored by Mary Stewart Berger in memory of her mother, Pauline Arnold Schweppe, is Ilse Thornburn Rath, and she's from AIWC Düsseldorf. Ilse will conduct her PhD research on the comparison of communication strategies and language translations policies in banks in South Africa and Belgium. Her master program is based on South Africa, which has different academic calendar years. She was given an extension on her EA award for 6 months until she has been accepted into the doctoral program for translations. Next. The FAWCO Skills Enhancement Award went to Andrea Stoddard, also of AIWC Düsseldorf. Andrea's proposed course of study will be an online digital photography course online with the New York Institute of Photography. Next slide. Her proposed course of study will be an online digital photography course. Oh, I'm sorry, that was double. These are examples of Andrea's art. Next slide, please. Lindsay Newgren of AWC Central Scotland is the recipient of the Shirley Kearney AWC Basel University Degree Award, which I think has the longest title of any award we are offering. Lindsay will continue her academic career through a PhD in education at the University of Glasgow, which takes the form of education policy analysis, specifically for immigrants and how education and employment are intertwined. Her goals in undertaking this research are to propose policies which will combat subtle discrimination in higher education. Next slide. In her interim report, Lindsay wrote, "I'd like to take this opportunity to thank FAWCO and the FAWCO Foundation for awarding me the 2021 FAWCO Foundation Shirley Kearney Award. It has been an honor to receive, and it has given me the opportunity to focus on experiences that have enhanced my PhD journey." Okay, next slide. Alison Kelleher of AWC Dublin is a recipient of the Women in STEM and Medicine Award. She is an aspiring orthopedic surgeon who hopes to bring more female representation in the world of surgical medicine. Next slide, please. In her interim report, she wrote, "I'm proud to say my academic standard has remained very high as I ended my second year with top marks." That's saying something. This year certainly didn't look the way I expected. However, the experiences and challenges I've met along the way have not only enriched my education, but will shape me into a more understanding and capable physician in the future, which I think all of us would enjoy. Okay.
This year, we also paid for 2 awards which had been given extensions in 2019 and 2020. The Shirley Kearney AWC Basel University degree and the Dual Cultural Award. Cecilia had received a 2-year extension on her award. In her interim report, she wrote, "Exactly 10 years after graduating from college, I began my MBA journey at the University of Illinois of Urbana-Champaign. In September 21, over the internet. I attended every class on time with a sharp mind. I am thrilled of this opportunity. I wrote a thank you letter to Ms. Shirley Kearney in January 2022. I told her how much I appreciated her and the FAWCO Foundation to invest in me and other young women and men to continue our studies." Next. Due to the pandemic, Elisa had received a 1-year extension to complete her chosen summer program. In her interim report, she wrote, "I'm very grateful for the 2020 FAWCO Foundation Cultural Award. It enabled me to attend the organic and biochemistry course on campus at Brown University in July 2021. One of my proudest achievements this year is raising funds for FAWCO's Target Project SAFE by tutoring students from my school in math and science. It fills me with joy to know that in some way I have given one girl hope to pursue a healthier future. I thank FAWCO and the FAWCO Foundation once again for this very generous award from which I continue to benefit."
So we're celebrating 25 years of development grants. We feel that's really something to celebrate. So the first 7 DGs were given out in 1997 for amounts ranging from $750 to $2,000 to these 7 countries. 2 of those went to the country of Nepal. Over the past 25 years, the foundation has dispersed a very impressive $63,550 to fund 169 development grants. We have learned a lot about some key focused areas, and we have taken some steps to offer aid in every area. So let's start with the environment. This is a sobering statistic on this slide, but we are doing something about it. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization of the UN, the SDGs will shape national development plans over the next 15 years. From ending poverty and hunger to responding to climate change and sustaining our natural resources, food and agriculture lie at the heart of the 2030 agenda. So how have we helped? The foundation has dispersed over $44,000 for 11 environmental development grants. And the very first target program, Tabitha Wells for Clean Water, raised $164,000 to $520 US. Small note that $135,000 went to Tabitha in Cambodia, bringing clean water to 1,500 families. The other 27,000 went to other water projects because German clubs could not donate directly to Tabitha at the time. They were all counted toward the total. In 2021, the foundation offered one environmental development grant. Nurturing Our Planet was sponsored fully by Patty Meek of the AWC Dublin in memory of her parents, James and Ethel Meek. The recipient was Harvesting and Storing for a Better Living in the Palghar district in Maharashtra, India. It was nominated by AWC Hamburg. The DG funds were to be used to finance a sturdy 40 square meter storage building that would allow 22 families or 120 persons to not only protect their harvest from bad weather and predators, but it would also project a minimum 20% increase in revenues for these families if they could store their goods and then sell their product when demand is high. An update from their interim report. The grant money and the donation from AWC Hamburg could not be transferred to the Nandavan Trust in India due to an amendment to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act that introduced drastic changes governing the receipt of foreign contributions by nonprofits. Nandavan has taken the necessary steps required and fulfilled the eligibility conditions, but they are still awaiting approval. The project start has been delayed, but they remain optimistic that the approval is forthcoming. And when they receive the funds, the construction of the storage building will begin as soon as possible.
Human rights. Let's look at some sobering statistics. Next slide. You can read it for yourself, but the United Nations Global Report on Trafficking, this is the UN Office on Drugs and Crime. These were stats actually collected in 2018, comprised of data from 155 countries, showing the significant number of trafficking victims that are women and children, both of sexual exploitation and forced labor. Next slide. In response, we have helped. We've given out 51 development grants totaling $183,750. And then many of you are involved in Target 2, Free the Girls, where we raised $172,000 for that organization. Next one. We have several.
Oops, sorry.
That's okay. That's all I can do is read it. Next one. Breaking the cycle. Trafficked women need safe shelter to enable them to start or continue an education, which should provide them with the skills to become independent and integrate into their new surroundings. One place of safe shelter is provided by the Istituto Alfieri Carew in Torino. The DG funds provide financial assistance for housing, allowing the women to focus on schooling and training and job-relevant skills, as well as opportunities for cultural integration for 2 trafficked Nigerian women. Next slide. These are stock photos.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you. The International Women's Club of Torino has been working alongside Alfieri Carew to track how the development funds are being used. Due to the delicate situation, none of these women can be photographed. But they did share with us that one of the women is around 22 years old, currently brushing up on her Italian language skills, taking Italian lessons twice a week, and attending a specialty school in the evenings after work. Alfieri Carew is providing an Italian teacher, paying for books, and housing her at one of their facilities. Next slide. FAWCO affecting change for women and children at risk. The development grant funds in this case permit the purchase of cultivars, fertilizer, pest management, small equipment, fencing for the fields, plus rental of land preparation equipment, work, food, and training to local women. They're trained to produce potatoes as organically as possible to feed their families. Next slide. In the interim report, we learned that when the potatoes are harvested, the women use some to feed their families and sell the rest, either in markets or to a potato chip factory. Without the DG funds, the women of Bureau would have had no potatoes to plant. Next slide. AWC Amsterdam's Tulip Development Grant. The development grant funds here were used by the Movement du Nid to assist the victims in legalizing their presence in France by helping them obtain residency permits and passports and improve their French language skills, both of which were prerequisites to gainful employment and integration into French society. Next. A quote from this interim report: in 2021, thanks to both French lessons and administrative work regarding papers, 6 women were able to enter training either to perfect their French or to learn a trade. Women are now ready to have work related to their expectations. Next, close to home, DG. The development grant funds here support the new Learning and Support Center by funding needed equipment, books, furniture, and supplies. Up to 40 women will benefit from the center in this first year, improving their prospects for entering the job market or pursuing a career, thus allowing them to live independently and giving them a sense of purpose, responsibility, and community. Next. A quote from the interim report is, the DG funds have been used to buy a computer and Ethernet cable as specified in the grant application to extend the computer system already available at Hanseatic Health, thus freeing up computers to be used in the Learning Center for computer lessons and to provide assistance with applications for work, housing, and childcare.
Okay, let's take a look at recent education DG recipients. Next slide. We recognize the need for education for all people, in particular women and girls. We support SDG 4 and the Education 2030 Framework for Action, and we help as we can. Next slide. So, never underestimate the power of women working toward a common goal. Look at those numbers. They're amazing. Next slide. In 2021, there were 2 DGs awarded in the education category. Next. This project, A Stitch in Time, Hope Through Education, nominated by AWC Berlin, builds on the capabilities of their trainers and their new Sports for Health teaching curriculum, including classes and workshops on topics ranging from misconceptions about female health and bodies to well-being and self-care. The DG funds would help to expand the program and reach into the community by delivering a condensed curriculum in an illustrated booklet and poster in Dari that will offer health facts and demonstrate the benefits of athletic activity for girls. Oh, I'm sorry, I am stumbling over my tongue. And there's no interim report to date, unfortunately. Next slide. Pam Dahlgren, Educating Africa's Children, which was nominated by AILO Florence. Feeding the children gives freedom from hunger, helps them to become strong and healthy, allows them to benefit from their education and get out of poverty. The DG funds would be used to provide 150 healthy, nutritious food rations per day for undernourished pupils for 106 days. Next slide. A quote from the interim report. The grant was to feed school children in the afternoons before going home for a duration of 100, not that they're going home for a duration of 150 days, they were to be fed for a duration of 105 days. They got to the goal by cooking, baking, and distributing healthy food, sometimes also rice, eggs, and meat, which are awfully expensive. Children could go back home glad they had the possibility of eating and sometimes also be able to feed their families.
Development grants under health. From the World Health Organization, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being and not merely the absence of disease and infirmity. And from the World Food Program, gender equality is a major cause and effect of hunger and poverty. It is estimated that 60% of chronically hungry people are women and girls. And how have we helped? We have given 51 development grants for $190,000. And as everyone just learned, the target for SAFE is not $170,000, but we have raised $176,000.
Sorry about that. I thought I fixed that slide.
I thought you did too. I saw it. It's
Right, well.
The 2021 Development Grant for Health was a psychological support project for children in Sayed, Lebanon, nominated by AWC Lebanon. This project will offer 80 developmentally disabled children's services to help them overcome social, psychological, physical, and mental challenges. A specialized team of certified special needs and psychological professionals will execute this project. A quote from the interim report. The next slide. The reactivation of this program through your fund is expected to have a good impact on the children and their families, especially after the overlapping financial and COVID-19 crisis that have affected greatly the Lebanese community, and without which we would have been unable to proceed.
Moving forward, this year we are offering 9 development grants and 9 education awards. Again, the deadline to apply has been extended to March 27th. Next slide. And of course, Target 5.0 to benefit the environment that Alexandra has brilliantly introduced. Next slide. And next.
How do we make it all happen? That's an easy one. Let's see it, Barbara. Next slide. None of it happens without you, the amazing FAWCO community. Next. Your time. You give your energy and your talents. Next. Around the world, FAWCA and FAWCO members make a difference. Fun, notice the capital F-U-N, fun and fundraising. Next. Foundation night, which we're going to talk about soon. FAWCA fundraising. Thank you for everything that you do and everything you're about to do.
So, who are our current sponsors? Sponsors are extremely important to the work of the foundation, and we couldn't accomplish all that we do without their help. There are so many of them, past and present, and we cannot recognize them all for fear of forgetting someone. But please know that the foundation is extremely grateful to each and every one of them. Here is some information about our current sponsors. The family of Pam Dahlgren. We have heard her name for years, but who was Pam Dahlgren? In a very moving tribute to Pam, in 2011, former foundation president Ellie Bedane said, "There are only a handful of people who come into our world and touch our life in a dramatic fashion. Some are just flickers of light during a long life, while others are consistent glows for years. Pam was our consistent glow." I heard this tribute at my very first FAWCO conference in Marrakesh, and I thought she must have been a pretty amazing woman. Clearly, she was very actively involved in FAWCO, and her incredible legacy lives on in the lives of all those children in Africa who have benefited and continue to benefit from her generosity and her compassion. In lieu of flowers at her funeral, she wanted donations to go to the Needs Project. Obviously, she was quite a woman. Next. The Pam Dahlgren Trust to the foundation has provided funding for 10 development grants from 2012 to the present. Shirley Kearney. Some of you may remember Shirley Kearney, who served on the foundation board many years ago. An engaged member of AWC Basel, she is an author, an editor, and an activist. After moving to Basel with her family in 1970, she spent time exploring the city, enjoying the local culture, and writing articles for regional publications. The first version of her book, Basel, A Cultural Experience, took the form of a 48-page booklet. When it was updated and published in 2005, it was a 272-page book about life as an expat in her vibrant adopted city. At least some of the proceeds from Shirley's book have been donated to fund member awards in university study since 2008. EW Surrey. We asked Louise Greeley-Copley for some background information on the history of AW Surrey's grant sponsorships. The club used to give 10% of funds raised for philanthropy every year to FAWCO. And in 2003, she proposed that the foundation encourage clubs to sponsor grants, the same way that education awards were being sponsored by individuals. AW Surrey chose to sponsor a development grant in the area of food and water, as many of their members were already involved in projects in that area. The AW Surrey Feed the World Development Grant was born. The pride of ownership and commitment to this grant grew and helped make members more aware of needs and global concerns beyond their immediate community. Since 2008, AW Surrey has provided funding for 14 development grants. AIWC Genoa and the family of Dr. Frida Bacigalupo Natali. Dr. Frida Bacigalupo Natali was a pediatrician, having started medical school at the age of 30, and she was the founding member of AIWC Genoa, with the club being founded in 1957. She was very influential in getting Genoa to join FAWCO, and we are so glad that she did. Photos of her just exude joy and zest for life. She is a recipient of the Cavaliere della Repubblica, which is the equivalent of being knighted, and her husband was a tennis buddy of Ezra Pound, the expat modernist poet. It seems like their life was quite colorful. The first memorial award in her honor was given in 1983, and the tradition of sponsorship continues to this day. The incredible generosity of the Bacigalupo family has helped numerous students further their academic dreams in the area of the sciences. We are very grateful to her family and AIWC Genoa for their ongoing support.
AAWE Paris in memory of Gertrude de Gallet. Working with her lawyer husband, Gertrude was an expert on drawing up bylaws and statutes. She was a founding member of both AWG Paris in 1950 and AAWE in 1961. She went on to draft the bylaws of the FAWCO Foundation. Gertrude's main legacy is the Education Awards program that she was instrumental in building. The first memorial award from her endowment was granted in 1985. AAWE has kept her memory alive by continuing in the wonderful tradition of honoring this influential FAWCO member.
Donna Arisman is a longtime member of the American Women's Club of Bern. She was also a FAWCO Foundation treasurer in 1992. And the first Dual Cultural Award was granted also in 1992. And as far as we can ascertain, Donna has supported the Dual Cultural Award since she was the Foundation treasurer in 1992. The award is a memory of her daughter Suzanne, who died at a very young age. The AWC Bern has also been supporting this award since 2006. And pretty much we did it because I'm also AWC Bern. We did it to support Donna in her endeavor to support this award for so long. Renuka Matthews has been contributing since 2016. In Renuka's own words, I choose to donate for the education of girls and women because I believe this can make the greatest impact on society in both the short term and long term, particularly in traditional cultures. By educating girls and women, we provide opportunities that improve the lives of entire communities in the most cost-efficient manner. We give them a platform on which they can fight for their independence, dignity, and happiness, and so that they may have confidence in their futures. I am truly happy to play a small role in helping girls and women to attain the fullest potential for the ultimate benefit of all humankind.
FAWCO. FAWCO is committed to the DGs and the EAs. They have sponsored the FAWCO Affecting Change Development Grant and the FAWCO Skills Enhancement Education Award. These four sponsors have recently honored loved ones by sponsoring DGs and EAs in full. In addition to making a difference in many lives, they can name their DG or A themselves. The foundation recognizes their selflessness and applauds their generosity. And in addition to individuals sponsoring DGs and EAs in full, clubs may do the same. Congratulations to these clubs on their big moments. But as a member of the AWC Hamburg, I just have a small correction. We sponsored a DG for our 60th
Sorry.
anniversary, and we just celebrated our 70th in 2021.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay. So I would like to take this opportunity to recognize two sponsors, neither of whom are known to many people in this group, but their generosity and silent support of the Foundation's programs is so heartwarming that it reminds us all of the goodness in people. Sami Batar has sponsored the 2022 Foundation Award for undergraduate or graduate study of engineering, environmental studies, computer science, economics, or business administration. I like to call this the Pay It Forward Award. Sami is currently president of Magcanica in Southern California. It's a product-focused technology company, and I took this from their website, quoted, Magcanica's core technology is magnetomechanically based, truly non-contact, non-invasive torque sensor systems. If anyone wants to explain what that means, feel free, because I know I can't, and I can't even say it. So we were very surprised to receive this donation last year, and we very tentatively asked him how he found his way to the FAWCO Foundation, and this was his response. My mother, Angela Bitar, was a member of FAWCO in Rome for many years. In 1993, I was awarded a FAWCO scholarship in the amount of $4,000, which helped to cover the cost of my graduate studies at Stanford University. I was very grateful at the time, and it really made a difference. Now that I have the means to be able to repay FAWCO for the favor, I'm happy to do so. I hope that these funds can help a young and promising student fulfill their educational goals in the future. This message just gives me goosebumps, so thank you, Sami. Our other unknown sponsor began making donations to the foundation when Suzanne Wheeler was still president. We had received word through the Springfield Foundation in Ohio that we should be expecting an anonymous donation. Because we wanted to thank her personally, we were, a couple years later, we were eventually given her name. And since then, every year I have written a thank you letter to Elizabeth Cole Carpentieri in Florence to thank her for her generosity. Last year, especially, I reached out to different people with the hopes of finding out more information about her. I found out on the internet that she went to the Miss Porter School, but I didn't find out a lot more. But it wasn't until this year that we found out more. And sadly, Mrs. Carpentieri passed away in January, so I never got a chance to talk to her. But she sounds like an incredibly interesting person, and she was certainly generous. Deirdre Priro, the FAWCO rep from AILO Florence, was my source of information, and I'm going to read to you what Deirdre told me. Her nickname, it's Liz Cole Carpentieri. So she said, yes, Liz Cole was a longstanding member of AILO Florence and a good friend. It does not come as a surprise that she left generous donations to FAWCO and the foundation's work and always supported and promoted it to her utmost. In fact, FAWCO and St. James, the American Episcopal Church in Florence, were probably her two main causes. Liz was born in Springfield, Ohio in 1939. She was a true Yankee, a free spirit, and a person who told you to your face what she thought of you or your opinions, and in no uncertain terms. She did not bear fools easily, but was loyal and steadfast in her friendships. She had a booming voice which could intimidate, but she balanced this with a wicked sense of humor and a lively intellect. Liz first arrived in Florence in the autumn of 1959 by sea with the junior year abroad program at Smith College. She was an art historian and a reader all her life with a real love of literature. She worked professionally as an art historian in San Francisco and Boston, but returned to Florence permanently in 1968. She married Alfonso Carpentieri, who worked for the city's bus company, but at heart he was a talented photographer. They had no children, and they traveled extensively. After Alfonso's death, Liz continued living in the heart of Florence, and despite having suffered a stroke in her later years, which meant she walked with a walking frame, Liz still got about attending to her business and often eating with us, friends at her favorite trattoria near her home. She was cremated and she was buried in Florence. I, for one, and I know there are many others, miss her. So thank you, Sami. Thank you, Liz. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And I actually was thinking as Tracy was talking, there's one sponsor that I wanted to just acknowledge again, because they are also a many times sponsor, and that's AWG Paris, who is sponsoring the environmental grant in full this year in honor of their centennial. So thank you, AWG Paris and everyone else. And then I got one more. I know that I said I'd only talk about our current sponsors, but there's one sponsor I'd like to single out as a past and future sponsor, and that is the Colon Foundation. Between 2011 and 2018, the Colon Foundation sponsored numerous development grants in the area of health, prevention of HIV, AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis, infectious diseases, and the DG in sickness and in health. Their generosity knows no bounds. We have recently learned that they will be sponsoring a FAWCO Foundation development grant in the area of education for the next decade or so. So we are so moved by the generosity of this donation. So thank you. So let me see where I am. Continue to amaze us with your generosity and help us change our lives, change minds, change the world. We look forward to seeing you on Friday, May 20th at Foundation Night, celebrating FAWCO, fun, and friendships. But while we're on this page, we want to tell you a little bit more about Foundation Night. So I'm going to turn you over to Lauren.
All right, everybody. I hope you're still awake. I'm in Dubai, which is 3 hours later. So if I'm awake, you need to be awake. We hope you're still out there because we can't tell.
I forgot.
See, this wonderful board is turned into party mode. Get your party stuff on. I'm in a hotel, so I didn't have any party favors. But we're going to celebrate FAWCO Fun and Friendships. It's time to party. It's been way, way, way too long since we've been able to do this in person. And this is going to be one that hopefully will blow your socks off. We've got a great female DJ coming for Foundation Night in Luxembourg in person. However, even though there are going to be lots of great things there, if you cannot be there, you can still be part of the fun. And in order to do that, whether you're present or not, we need you to join one cause. You see it on the screen. You can go on the FAWCO Foundation, FAWCOFoundation.org website and register, but register for one cause. And that is super, super important if you're going to be part of this. Before I turn it over, for all the reasons you need to join one cause, I want to also say the other really important thing for you to do is donate so that we have more than 9 items for the silent auction, because you know how much fun the silent auction can be. You just listened to us talk for the last half hour or so about all these amazing development grants and education awards and recipients. For all the reasons you need to join one cause, I want to also say really important thing for you to do is donate. I have an echo. So that we have more than 9 items for the silent auction. You know how much fun.
In case you didn't hear it the first time.
Dude, are you hearing me twice?
Yes.
So I don't know what to tell you because I don't want y'all to hear me twice.
There you go. That's better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Donate. We need silent auction items. You can also do that on the homepage of the FAWCO Foundation. But we want you to come party with us. And in order to do that, even if you're going to be present, you need to sign up on one cause for several reasons, starting with the silent auction. We're going to have a silent auction in Luxembourg, but the only way you can bid is through one cause. So Barbara, you want to tell them a little more about the silent auction?
Oh, I thought you basically have already said what I wanted to say.
Okay, well then tell them about the handbag handoff.
No, but all the donated items that are donated now will be posted on one cause. The silent auction is already live, and so you can be bidding on anything between now and May. We would encourage you to check back on a regular basis to see if there are new items, what new items have come in, and but the final bidding will take place in Luxembourg. And so it should be a fun way to extend the Foundation Night, and hopefully it's a lot of fun for everyone. One portion of it is what we call the handbag handoff, and that is that FAWCO, FAWCA, and the FAWCO Foundation have all donated a handbag, and they are all already up on one cause. And we invite you to bid on them. They are handbags that were chosen by each organization, and they have some goodies inside. And so we thought it would be a fun way to celebrate this year. If you have there, as Lauren said, the links are here. I also put the links before in the chat on the booth of on the Foundation Night booth in Hopin, and they are on the Foundation website. And if you have any questions, then you can contact our silent auction coordinator, Carolyn McKelvey. So is someone talking about the live auction? I don't think so.
No, nobody's
We're having a
talking
very
about
small live auction because what we're doing this year is we're having the 144 envelopes. A lot of you are familiar with this. I've seen it, but never in its full glory. And we are going to have different envelopes that you can purchase at different prices and raise money in this way so that we can spend more time having a fun time together.
partying.
Okay, so who else? Somebody raise your hand.
Angie.
I have a twofer. Okay. Yeah, I have two. The charms celebrate our first chance to get together face to face in over 2 years. Get the charm commemorating this fun event by ordering it now on One Cause. The cost is $20 or euros, and it says celebrate FAWCO fun and friendship on one side and Luxembourg 22 on the other. Plus, the money goes to a great cause. And my second one is my favorite, the absolute favorite. We will also be having the bags again. And going with our theme of celebrate, they're called party favors this year. It's a grab bag with style. Each bag will be $5 or 5 euros.
Good going, Angie.
Yes, I love my bags.
Okay.
All right. Tracy. Unmute. Yeah, it's you. Quilt time. You're still muted.
How do you unmute?
Okay, you got to remind me what I was supposed to talk about.
Quilt tickets.
Oh, the quilts, of course. Ladies, the picture of the quilt is on the FAWCO Foundation website, and you can buy quilt tickets by going to One Cause and registering. The quilt tickets are not a separate item anymore. They are under the silent auction items, and they are sold in packages. So a package of 1, a package of 5, a package of 35, I think, and a package of there's 4 packages. And you buy them just as you would a silent auction item that has a set price. So go there, buy lots of tickets.
Great.
Okay, and as has been said, one cause, one cause, one cause. This is how you donate. This is how you buy charms. This is how you buy quilt tickets. So please go and register. It is not only for virtual participants, but will also be the platform that we are using in Luxembourg for live participants as well. In addition, we will have credit card readers in Luxembourg for any on-site point of purchase type items. We will not be pre-registering your credit cards like we've done in the past and maintaining a list of items and running it through that way. Everything will be point of sale, whether you're purchasing a charm or purchasing a party favor, making a donation, whatever you would like to give us money for. And of course, anytime you would like to make a donation, you can access information on our website. We have many options available to make donations and payments. There's also a nice slide presentation in the Foundation Expo booth that talks about payment methods. We have worked really hard over the last couple of years to continue to try to make the international banking process easier for all of you. And I'm pretty happy with some of the things that we've accomplished. Hopefully you've all had an opportunity to try those out and have found those to be user-friendly as well. Janet, what did I forget?
Before you go to Janet, we'll take cash in Luxembourg, yeah? All right, bring your cash. Bring your cash.
All right. Okay. So the silent and live auctions obviously will offer some wonderful items, and some very lucky person is going to get to go home with that gorgeous quilt. But maybe you want to make a difference without going home with anything extra in your suitcase. So, how can you do that? You can be a benefactor. So you can log on to One Cause. Again, One Cause, very crucial here. On the sidebar, there's a little button that says donate here, be a benefactor. It's that easy. You can click on a set amount to donate, or you can click on another button where you can donate any amount that you wish. It's a great way to help out. Your contribution will be acknowledged at the conference, unless you would like to remain anonymous, and you will feel great knowing that you're making a difference. And then my other part is the fun and the festivity of the evening. So we know that the costume element of foundation night can sometimes be a tad stressful for people. So we're going to make it really this is a party. So you wear whatever makes you feel celebratory. So since we're celebrating fun, FAWCO, and friendships, your costume can be FAWCO. It can be friendly. It can be funny. It can be fancy. It can be funky. It can be formal. It can be festive. It can be fun. It can be fluffy. It can be frilly. It can be floral. It can be fetching. It can be foxy. It can be frisky, or it can be none. It can be whatever you darn well please. And whatever you choose, it's going to be fabulous. So come as you are, come as you will, however you're dressed, it's going to be brilliant.
Kathy, you want to say something?
Yes, Kathy.
Yeah, I caught a couple comments in the comment section, and there was a comment about people having trouble registering their address on One Cause. You do not need to include an address. An address is not required, particularly for overseas credit cards. Anything outside of the U.S., don't put in an address. So Margaret Hilditch, hopefully you heard that. There was also a question about the cash, euros, or dollars. We will take both.
Kathy, isn't there on the sign up form for One Cause, there's an asterisk on the things that have to be included, and that there's not an asterisk by the address?
Correct.
So, okay, did we forget anything?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, so I hope that this has inspired everyone. We look forward to seeing you in Luxembourg to celebrate with us. And we are very proud of our accomplishments with the FAWCO Foundation. And you should be just as proud, because this is truly something that we have all done together. So Thank you very much, and have a good evening,
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon, Luxembourg, face to face.
Okay, now we need to go to